Mr. Tyson Longworth, how are you?
I'm very good, sir. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Good to have you on the show.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
You're going to answer the unanswered questions of
I'll,
vehicle wrapping.
I'll see what I can do. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you just get mad when you see a naked Mercedes Sprinter van going down the street. You think, what a waste.
It's a missed opportunity. You're
It's a
absolutely
mist.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I feel like I jumped ahead of ourselves. Tyson, who the heck are you? And why would
All
you be
right.
speaking to this group of construction professionals all around the world?
Perfect. My name is Tyson Longworth. I'm based out of Vancouver, Canada, and I am owner of a company called Prima Graphics, which focuses mainly on vehicle graphics,
Wow.
essentially. We do work with a ton of business owners who will, coordinate the ordering of vehicle graphics for their company,
Mhm.
and I believe your target market is exactly the same as mine. We work with a ton of service-based companies like your plumbers,
Yeah.
electrician, landscaping companies, things like that, general contractors. So yeah, it's a good alignment for sure.
Yeah. How many plumbers do you get that say they want a picture of a toilet on their passenger or on the driver's side door?
Oh yeah, either that or the faucet on the side or some sort of a water drop. Yeah, we have a couple of those for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It seems as well as when we start working with a company, say it's an HVAC company, general contractor, we do rely a lot on our social media, like Instagram, Facebook, things like that. And it seems that once we work with a plumbing company or an electrician company, there's always inquiries from similar companies. And I think it's because
Ah,
they do follow each other on their social media, and there's that connection there as well. So
yeah.
we definitely kind of get in the path where when we work with one general contractor or one brewery, then it seems that some more kind of fall into place after that.
Well, you just said brewery, so now everybody's listening.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're located right by Four Winds Brewery, and some of the best beer in the world there. So yeah,
Yeah.
if you're ever in the
Perfect.
neighborhood for tacos and beer, stop by and see them. Yeah.
So uh, the vehicle wrapping question comes up when I talk to business owners about getting more of the right clients. And when we talk about that, it really, to me, it falls under something called farming. I want to have my signs in the right neighborhood, so I get calls from the right neighborhood. I don't want to have
Right.
my signs in the wrong neighborhood, so I get calls from the wrong neighborhood. And when I say
Mhm.
wrong neighborhood, I'm not talking about people. I'm just talking about their the kind of products and services they buy from me. That makes them right or wrong.
Sure.
You know,
Yeah, makes sense.
yeah. So when people call you and ask about wrapping their vehicle, what are some of their typical questions?
Yeah. So for some people, it is a completely new process and they've never gone down that path before. So it's my job as the owner and the person that takes care of customer relationship management. I want to make them familiar with the process
Uh-huh.
and guide them through it. So some of the most common questions that come up is, can your company provide graphic design services? My answer would be yes. We have two in-house graphic designers that can help to essentially take our customers' vision for what they might want to see on their vehicle, and then we
Yeah.
put our own creative spin on there to make sure it looks great and represents the company well. Um, some other questions that come up about what can I expect as far as like the longevity of using vehicle graphics, and the answer there is you're generally going to get 5+ years of a good useful life out
Oh,
of out
that's
of
pretty good.
vehicle graphics, which when you think about the initial investment of what it might cost, you spread that out over 5+ years, it actually makes it a very, very good advertising opportunity.
Yeah. Well, imagine all those people sitting in traffic looking at
Yeah,
your
yeah.
sign. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Well, that's the thing as well too. I mean, sometimes people they might have a limited budget and they're not sure where they want to spend their money. Do they want to put it towards a Google AdWords? Do they want to put it towards the vehicle
Right.
graphics, social media advertising, lawn signs, things like that? That's another question as well. People might say, like, what can I expect in applying graphics to my vehicle? And the easiest answer to that is a brand recognition.
Oh,
Every single day when a customer has their wrapped vehicle on the road, it's an opportunity for thousands and thousands of people to see your logo, your information, your tagline every single day. So when you look at it from the perspective of where are my advertising dollars best spent, on a cost per impression basis, which is a cost per, a set of eyes that see your branding.
That's an impression, right?
Yeah, it's one of the most cost effective advertising choices you can take as far as creating that brand recognition, which hopefully will lead to generating leads and business and things like that.
Yeah. I was doing some research on the industry on vehicle wrapping and why you should do it, and I found one that just completely blew me away. This is a study in the States, but they said that if you drive, let's see, 15,000 miles a year, where is it? The average vehicle driven 15,000 miles a year will pass in front of 9 million vehicles. That seems like a lot. But then I think about it and I'm like, well, maybe it's not. How many people are going past?
Absolutely, and I mean, I can't speak personally to those statistics, but I do know that you can expect thousands and thousands of people to potentially see your vehicle when it's on the road every day. So,
well, even if it's half that, let's say it's not 9 million, let's say it's 4.5 million, and then let's knock that down again, 2 million. It sure is worth being in front of 2 million people in the right neighborhoods doing the same commute.
Absolutely. And another thing to think about beyond that is if you have not just one vehicle on the road, but you have 10 vehicles in your fleet, and all of those vehicles every single day you're having your logo, your branding exposed to people who can see it, that's when you really kind of catch that stride and you have that brand recognition. We have a couple of companies that we work with that only have 2 or 3 vehicles on the road. But they say to this, that their customers say to them all the time, "Oh, I've seen your van. I've seen your van. I always see your vans around. You must have so many of them out there." When in fact they don't. But what that essentially means, though, is the graphics and the information that we're conveying on their vehicles is an effective tool, because it gives the presence of, wow, I see those guys all the time. I see your vans all the time, and it means that what we have done or what another vehicle graphic company might do has essentially created a graphic package for their vehicles that is getting noticed, and that's the success that we're
that's what you want. So what do you think about the call to action? If I say the word call to action, what's the call to action on vehicle graphics?
Very, very good question. I'd say the number one thing that you would probably want is whether it be a plumber or electrician, you want your phone to be ringing.
It's that phone number. You've got to make it big enough for people to see.
Absolutely.
And we're taking pictures of it in traffic. I know we're not supposed to. But that's what happens, right?
Someone will snap a photo when you're behind them at a stoplight or something like that. Yeah, absolutely. So that's the main call to action. I guess beyond that, people could look into, if they have like an Instagram or Facebook handle, they can look at their social media pages like that. Perhaps visit their website. But you're absolutely right. The call to action, whether it be a phone number or an email address, needs to be very big, very, very dominant. And you want to be able to see it from a distance away. That also goes along with a company's logo as well. You want it to be big enough that you can see it from a distance away, and that's the idea. And we do take that into consideration a lot when we design for vehicles.
Yeah. I mean, I can't imagine how many Mercedes Sprinter vans or Dodge Tradesmans you've done, right? Or F-150s, really, like a wrapped F-150 with a canopy set and a rack. But how do you figure out how big to make the phone number?
Very good question. So we have a database of templates. We essentially pay a monthly membership, and then we, if we want a 2018 Mercedes Sprinter with a 144-inch wheelbase and a high roof and this window orientation, we can find the exact identical template within the database that we have a membership to use.
Right.
The good part about that is we can actually use those templates in our graphic design stage to show the most real representation we can to a customer of how the graphics will actually look on their van or their truck, whatever it may be. And beyond that, our templates that we use are a scale of what the actual size is. So we can actually take those templates and make sure that when we're going to print, we're printing with the exact dimensional accuracy that we need to have the graphics actually displayed in the exact same way that they're represented in the graphic design process.
So everybody here is a tradesperson. How do you guys take into account every little angle, nook, and cranny on just say a truck? All those custom swoops and swirls and bends and just little things. How do you do that without getting a wrinkle in it?
Yeah, well, so the job of our graphic designers is to anticipate just that. How could a ridge, how could an inset window area that you see on some of these Sprinter vans or Ford Transits, how could that affect or distort the graphics that we're displaying? So that's from the very beginning of the graphic design stage. That is something that's extremely important, is to think about the actual 3D aspect of this vehicle. We're not designing a business card or a brochure. We're designing a 3D area. So a lot of that goes into the design stage up front. And then to answer your question about the actual application, there's high-end materials that we use from 3M and Avery Dennison, more or less like the Coke and Pepsi are the best quality vinyls that we can use for vehicles. And it actually has a conformability. So in our actual application process, we apply a little bit of heat to it and allows it to be able to stretch and
it gives and bends a bit.
Yeah, and that's the idea. And there's a lot of kind of installation tricks that help out with that process. But the idea is, we stand by our product. We offer a 1-year installation warranty, which says to our customers, if there's ever a bubble, if there's ever a corner that's coming up, you see a wrinkle, we bring it back in and we make it look perfect for you. That's our guarantee to you, that we have the expertise to follow through on that. And so
that's actually a really good point. So I mean, you're in Vancouver, you happen to be in Canada, but people could be listening to this in Key West, Florida. What should I look for when I go to my own local vehicle wrapping company?
Excellent question. Yeah. Okay. So upfront warranties, like I just mentioned. So for my company, we offer a 1-year installation warranty. That's saying if there's ever a defect within the first year, it becomes apparent if there's a bubble, something like that. That is an installation error. And in that case, we bring it back and make sure it looks perfect. Beyond that, there's the actual material warranties. And the material warranties are coming from the manufacturer, such as a 3M or Avery Dennison. And generally speaking, you're going to get 5+ years of useful life out of vehicle graphics. There are some caveats that these
depending on how you use it, right?
Yeah. Well, for example, like an upward facing area that has a more direct sun exposure is more likely to over time have some sort of a bleaching from the sun. So 3M might say that we'll give a 5 or 6-year warranty on a sideways facing panel, but on the hood or roof of the vehicle, it might be a 3-year warranty. And that's the idea. So for what it's worth, we've worked with a lot of different types of materials from different manufacturers. 3M and Avery seem to be the best ones for the actual quality of the material, and also the application, the ease of application, and to be backed by the warranties. Luckily though, we've only had one time the entire time we've been in business for almost 8 years now. We've only had one time when we've ever had to actually take action with a material warranty claim. For the most part, the materials are just really, really good. Yeah.
So, people are always interested in saving a buck though. If they do walk into their local Key West, Florida, I'm trying to choose something that's geographically as far from as possible, right?
Sure.
What should make me run away though? Like when you look at their installation bay, like what are some things to watch for when I walk in?
Yeah. So right off the bat, it might seem funny to say this, but take that lowest quote that you've received and throw it away, because
really,
generally speaking, the cost that a company charges will be representative of the skill level of their wrap installers, the skill level of their graphic designers.
That makes sense. That's the way we do it in trades as well.
Yeah, and that's the thing, just speaking to my company, we do position ourselves not as a low cost provider, but rather as a high quality provider. The quality of our design, the quality of our application, the quality of the materials that we use, I feel it puts ourselves in a very high stance in our local industry. And there's absolutely some other great companies out there. But we do come across it a lot where somebody will say, well, this company XYZ, their quote's $300 cheaper, and I say, well, that's fine. I appreciate that, but this is a 5+ year investment for your vehicle. If you want it done properly and you want to have the proper warranties in place, and if you've come to us in the first place because you've seen us on Instagram or Facebook and you like the designs, you like what we're doing, you should be okay with paying slightly more to have a better design, a better application, better quality product. So it's a very common question that comes up.
I know there's some international product, I'll just say that doesn't meet the standards, that comes in from quote unquote offshore, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
There is. Yeah, for sure.
So
I
need to ask this, because we're talking about vehicle assets. How does wrapping a vehicle affect my ability to sell this thing in the future? One part of my brain says it's going to protect the paint. And then the other part of my brain says, well, then I have to pay to have everything removed. So what's the impact on the long-term value of my van or my truck?
Yeah, good question. So it absolutely is a protective layer to protect what is underneath. So if you buy a brand new pristine vehicle, you put a full wrap on there. At the say 6 or 8 years down the road, you want to sell this thing. Yes, you would probably want to be removing your branding so somebody else is not driving around with your company branding. But it's a pretty easy process. The process for us to remove graphics, we apply heat with heat guns, which helps to release the adhesive and allows for a safe safe removal. And then there's a product that we use that can help us to clean up some of the glue residue that's left behind, essentially. But yeah, that's the idea. It's something that will protect your surface underneath. And even for people that do like just a color change wrap, if somebody buys a brand new Tesla for their own personal use, if they want to put a wrap on it, same idea is you get to customize your vehicle and protect the paint underneath. Beyond that, like our local insurance, ICBC, they actually cover all the costs of vehicle graphics as well. So say, for example, Charlie has a Mercedes Sprinter that's fully wrapped for his plumbing company.
Yeah.
As somebody rear-ends him and bashes up his rear two doors, they would essentially take their vehicle to the repair shop as part of that ICBC claim, and ICBC will actually cover the cost of replacing the graphics after the damaged areas have been fixed, essentially.
That's interesting. So, I didn't realize they did that too.
Yeah, they also do that for personal color change wraps as well too. They essentially will provide
because it's essentially a paint job. It's a removable paint job.
Exactly. Yeah.
I have to admit, I've got a everybody's got their car that they love. Mine might not be what everybody else would love. Mine's a 2001 Suzuki Vitara, so that I can take it fishing and hunting. And I just got it lifted, and I'm like, you know what? I might do blue digital camo on it. Yeah, but absolutely. To be honest, the cost of the vehicle and the cost of the wrapping are probably the same. Because
I've had that conversation with a couple. I mean, we come across inquiries of all sorts, and some people are familiar with what sort of price they can expect, and some people, you get some of that reach out and say, yeah, I got a 1998 Chrysler LeBaron that I want to wrap, and right away I'm thinking, well, the price of that wrap is going to be more expensive than your vehicle. If you would really like to, I'm happy to provide our products and services, but usually when you come back to them and let them know the actual price of the 22 hours of labor that will go into this full wrap on their vehicle, they'll look at it and they say, oh, I didn't expect that. So it happens.
Well, I imagine though that you've got a scale of, because I've seen different kinds of, I guess it's not all wrapping. I can have a simple logo put on my door, right? So I can have decals or stickers put on, all the way up to wrapping the entire vehicle tight like a bunny. So, those are conversations I'm sure you're used to having with people. And more is not always better, right? Like if you've got a nice black truck and you do some really crisp decals, probably looks just as good. Yeah,
you're absolutely right. So there's 3 different areas or categories of vehicle coverage that we refer to in the industry. The lowest amount is decals or decals, which is like you just mentioned, just some logos, maybe some contact information placed on the sides and rear of the vehicle, for example. As that's a lower amount of coverage and a faster application, it's not like big wrapped areas, it's essentially decals going on. The price is representative of that lower coverage, and it's a lower amount. I tell people often that decals are a fantastic thing to use to give your company credibility. Just when you're showing up to a job site, if you're around other tradespeople, they essentially look at that and then they can see that your logo is there and your contact information is there, and it shows that you take pride in what your business does. To go up from there, there's something called a 50% partial wrap, and that's essentially wrapping about 50% of your vehicle. In the cases of a partial wrap, we always want to have the graphics weighted more heavily towards the rear of the vehicle. And the reason why is something we've touched base on earlier, is when you have some people that are stopped behind you at a stoplight or stop sign, they can really kind of soak in that information, recognize your logo, bring out their camera before the the police catch them, and take a picture. And that's it. So oftentimes for when companies have all white vehicles in their fleet, it's a very good opportunity to use a partial wrap, because the area of the vehicle that's remaining is white, and if that's consistent across multiple vehicles in their fleet, it still has a very, very nice brand consistency, if that makes sense.
I'm laughing here because I'm remembering 2 things. First, I had a Dodge Aspen station wagon for my first painting company,
Okay. Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
hand drew my logo and stencil and painted it on the side.
That's
But it
a
was a
cool
Dodge
set.
Aspen station wagon. I was only increasing the value of that thing. And then it kind of
Yeah.
fell apart. It just stopped working. It didn't really die.
Yeah.
It just stopped
Yeah.
one day and I just got rid of it. And I bought a $400 Dodge
Yeah.
Tradesman van. And the paint was, I think, originally red. And then it was just that dusty, powdery,
Hmm.
whatever it disintegrates into. That was my
Yeah.
second van. So I laughed
Yeah.
when you said when you pull up to a job site and people can see your decal or your logo and that you have pride. I'm like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
A couple of mine have been, yeah, we maybe shouldn't go with this guy.
Sounds like you took it to the extreme
I did. Well,
there.
every dollar, right? Every dollar's got to make a dollar back for me. And so I probably cut it a little short on the quality of the vehicle,
Yeah. Yeah.
yes, considering
Yeah.
both of them died on me.
You do bring up a good point, though. We ideally, if we get like a brand new 2021 Ford Transit van or a Mercedes Sprinter, it's a very pristine surface, and to work with that surface is very straightforward. We do have a plenty of companies that buy older vehicles that might be 10,
Oh,
12 years old, like a work van, and their plan is essentially they'll purchase this vehicle. It's a bit of an older vehicle, which will save them some money.
mhm.
And even though there might be some imperfections on the vehicle surface, such as maybe some problems with clear coat or maybe some rust issues, we essentially can still, make that vehicle wrap ready through a process of, sanding down certain areas, putting on what's called a primer.
Yeah,
And essentially we can still fully wrap a vehicle to make it look very, very good.
smart.
And so that is a path that a lot of our customers take. Actually, they'll buy these older vehicles knowing that they'll save some money. The concern of theirs is not what the surface looks like now, because they know we're going to put a full wrap on it anyway. So that's the idea. We can kind of cover it up, and that way it's still good for the business that's using it.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah.
Well, I think that, this whole conversation about wrapping a vehicle falls in local marketing or guerrilla marketing. Get your name out there. When people see you everywhere, they think you're the only game in town, and you're just reinforcing that. The
Yeah.
one thing that I have to do as an owner then is I also have to remind my team, you're driving a billboard. So
Yes.
if you cut people off in traffic, if you park like a dodo, if you,
Yes.
if
It's
you
it's very true.
like, people are going to associate that vehicle with that action. And so you have to
Yeah.
drive in a certain way, which is maybe why I don't wrap my current vehicle, because
Yeah, that's a thing. I personally have a BMW M3, which is a pretty zippy little car, and I have it wrapped with all of our Prima Graphics branding. So I definitely got to pick and choose my battles if I choose to step on it a little bit. So
right.
yeah,
Yeah. Because you're
you're
a heat
right though.
magnet. You're a heat magnet.
Yeah,
And then the phone starts ringing, right?
yeah, that's it. I've actually heard that from some of our customers that we work with, that they'll get calls and say, "Hey, are you in that van that's cutting people off on the highway right now?" And it's something that a business owner or manager might have to deal with.
Yeah.
Is, to have that chat with the people driving their vehicles to say, "Listen, Peter, our branding is on this vehicle. You are representing our company, and even if it takes you an extra 15-20 minutes to get where you want to go, just respect the rules of the road. Make sure that you're not on your phone. Make sure you're driving safely." And then I think that any owner or manager should have that conversation with their employees regardless. But
Sure.
you're very right that when there's the added level of having the company logos on the van or truck, it's a bit of a game changer as
Yeah.
far as representing your company well. Yeah.
Is there anything else about the wrapping industry that we haven't covered off that you're just dying to get into today?
No, no. Well, not really. I think that you've asked a lot of questions. The main thing that we've touched on is where is my advertising dollars best spent? And I've heard a lot of feedback from our customers that say like, hey, like we understand that we're spending this price to have this vehicle wrapped, but the return that we get as far as a brand recognition, as far as lead generation,
Yeah.
is the best that they can ever envision spending their advertising dollars once they've done it. So that's the one thing that I would really want to kind of hammer home is you can absolutely work on Google AdWords or social media advertising or send out brochures, email campaigns. All of those things do have a time and a place. But when you're looking at, a 5-year investment of having a vehicle wrapped and you spread out that cost over the 5 years, it really is a very cost effective and important tool that you can
Yeah.
use.
I think this is one of the things that's easy not to do. It's easy to go, it's going to cost us a few bucks. And really, what are we going to get back in returns?
Yeah.
But that's the same argument you would make for going to a conference. You'd say, well, it's not really worth going to that conference. The speaker lineup isn't very good. But then you go to the conference and you realize the value is in grabbing a coffee before the seminar, taking the elevator with somebody and chatting. And you got all these bits of info you wouldn't normally get. There's value that's not necessarily what you see up front. And I think in wrapping a vehicle, there's value that you wouldn't understand. There's a frustrated family at Home Depot who calls you and says, my husband's trying to fix the plumbing. Can you just come and do it? Right. Yes. There's people who call you with their hair on fire and they're like, you do blinds? We need blinds in our house right now. When can you get here? Those are the perfect customer. And you're not going to get them no matter how nice and white and shiny or black and shiny your truck is, if you don't have some way for people to contact you. I would imagine the ROI, if you could do a good job of tracking it, you'd be able to pay that thing off faster than you would think, which is why the big companies, the big franchises, the national companies, the international companies, they wrap their vehicles.
Every single one. When we look locally, like our TELUS, Shaw, every single one of these vehicles is wrapped, because it is literally a mobile billboard that is advertising your company, that's creating a recognition for your company, and that's it. You're absolutely right. And another thing that to kind of go beyond, just having the graphics on your vehicle, if you have it done and it looks tasteful and it looks great and it catches people's attention, it also helps to represent the image of your company, to show that you do care about, the way that, people will view your logo and your branding. And for me, if I was going to be making a decision to, go with an electrician, I would be personally more inclined to go with the one that has these shiny, beautifully, branded fleets of vehicles on the road, versus, the other guy who stenciled it on himself with some spray paint. So and that's the thing.
I parked around the corner a lot with that station wagon.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, but if you look the part, I think that also helps with your company image and the brand association that you're looking for. That you take pride in what you do, you take pride in your vehicles and your employees, and you want to essentially represent your company in a way that really does convey that information. Yeah,
love it. Well, I'll leave you with this, and I'll leave our listeners with this. Did you ever see the Modern Family episode where Phil Dunphy gets the family van wrapped?
I don't know if I did actually, but
oh my gosh, it's funny. So imagine a minivan wrapped and you're facing the back. One side says not satisfied and the other side says till you're satisfied. And Phil Dunphy's picture is in the middle on the back, on the back panels of the minivan, but his wife's picture is on one side that says not satisfied, and his daughter's picture is on the other side then says till you're satisfied.
Yeah.
And I'll just let you watch the episode. It is well worth watching. It's Modern Family is so well written anyways, but that, it's so cool. And that show's great because of course, Al Bundy, whatever his name is, he runs a cabinet shop, a closets company. And a lot of our listeners are cabinet makers and closet makers. So I get lots of info from Modern Family. Go watch that episode.
I will, absolutely, man. I've seen quite a few episodes, but I haven't seen that one.
So you'll die.
I'll look out for it. Yeah. Awesome.
Hey, if somebody listening wants to get in touch with you to find out, I mean, you guys do graphics. It doesn't matter where. You can do graphics for everything. How would we find you in this big wide world?
Good question. So just to speak to that, we do predominantly focus on our local geographic, proximity wise customers, of course, but we do have deals with a lot of companies where we'll still take care of the graphic design, we'll take care of the materials preparation, and essentially we have affiliate programs where we would essentially send graphics to Calgary or to California, to Detroit, things like that. And in doing so, we still maintain the graphic design, the quality material preparations, but then we coordinate with the company in the area that would actually do the application onto the vehicle. So the best number to reach me directly is 604-259-7002. Also, we have an email address that works out very well, info@primagraphics.ca. So info@PRIMA graphics.ca. And then they actually, we rely a lot on our website, but something that our customers really enjoy too is our Instagram page. We put a lot of time and effort into creating good content. So it's at Prima Graphics, just our company name, at Prima Graphics. And we've really invested a lot of time into posting and providing good content. We also used it for advertising as well through those platforms, and it works out really well. So
that's something that we should have touched on today, is that when your vehicle's wrapped, it's instant Instagram and Facebook post time, because you can take a picture in front of anything.
Absolutely.
And it's automatically just the picture, right? Yeah. Here we are taking the dog to the dog wash. Here we are going mountain biking. Here, whatever you're doing, your truck's still in the background, or your wrapped trailer or whatever it is, right? And it's just instant. I would imagine, here I am taking my white Sprinter van to the wrap place. Here's what it looks like after. You've got 6 or 7 posts right there. And so the ability to leverage this up into social media material is, I'm sorry we didn't talk about that a little more too.
No, absolutely. That's a good point though. And for a company like ours, that we know the importance of social media, same as some of our customers do, to be able to leverage each other's social media platforms to create an awareness for each other, to post and give each other shout outs and tags is very important. It's something we rely on a lot, actually. So it's a good point.
There, we added that in the end. We didn't lose it. Yeah. All right. Thanks very much for being with us, Tyson. We'll talk to you again.
Thank you very much, man. Appreciate your time.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.